here's the thing, right? You have people right, like I got a thing right here, right? One serving size of cereal is this. This is
Oh,
one
nah,
cup.
nah.
So that
This
salad
is
bowl is
this is one cup. I'm
Nah.
holding it from all sides so you can see it. This is one cup, right? This is one serving of cereal. Now look at your cereal box. And you see the calories on the side? It say something like 130, 140
Per
calories per
cup.
serving.
Yeah.
That's 130 calories per one of these.
Eat some spinach, but don't try to be a Popeye. He said, do not become an habitual spinach eater. Every now and then, eat rutabaga, a little every now and then. But you may eat as much garlic and onion as you like. Garlic and onion. I mean, I know what you're thinking. See, them other foods give you a lot of kissing breath, aiding you to death. You eat a lot of garlic and onions, ain't too many want to get close. Keep you safe, honey. Garlic is a blood purifier, isn't it? It is a nerve strengthener. Onions the same. The very fiber in the onion is like the fiber that the nerve itself is made from. So onion and garlic, as much of it as you want to eat. Now look, brothers, for God's sake. No, I used to do this sometimes, you know, just take a clove of garlic, put it in my mouth. Nobody would get near me, you know what I mean, for a long time. Now they have garlic today in capsule where it doesn't offend until you belch. Now, how many of you like sweet potatoes? Yeah, I used to like sweet potato too, but listen, you want to know how to eat to live? Leave the sweet potato alone. Why? The sweet potato is very hard on your digestive system. It takes days to digest a sweet potato. Now, if you just like the taste of the sweet potato, you can take a carrot and you can make the carrot taste exactly like a sweet potato. And it's better for you. Now, this may sound strange, I'm telling you, but if you practice how to eat to live, I'm telling you, in 30 days, you will look better. You will feel better. You will act better. Just a few more. He said, no sweet potatoes and no white potatoes. Sweet potatoes were never good for any human to eat. They are good for hogs, but not for you. White Irish potatoes are a food for people who live in frigid zones, a staple food for such as Europe, Northern America, and Canada. But potatoes and rice are too starchy for you and me. They laden us with too much starch and fat, which are friends of diabetes. You want to get diabetes? Keep getting on that starch and that fat. Well, Brother Farrakhan, do you eat rice? Every day. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us how to cook the rice where you brown it in a pan. When you brown it, you take that starch out of it by browning it. Then they boil it. Then when you eat that bad boy, it's okay. You got to start with a long grain brown rice. That's in a class brothers and sisters, when you learn how to prepare your foods, this stir-fried madness, nothing fried. Fried food is death. Sorry about that. Fried chicken, even baked chicken. Anything that makes the surface rough and hard is not good for you. The fried food sending you away from here, clogging up your veins and arteries with fat. And as you get older, the sludge that you find in your motor, you ever notice how after you don't clean that bad boy out, the sludge deposits in your motor, so you have to have a whole complete motor overhaul. Is that right? Well, that's what happens to your veins. All the deposits of fat and debris line your arteries and your veins, so the blood only has a little hole to go through. Then the heart got to pump harder and harder to squeeze the blood through this fat. So you overwork the heart. All of this due to improper eating of too many fried foods. I know you don't like this. Sweet potatoes are full of gas. Oh, Lord. Look, let me close this book.
Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones. I was laughing at Pat's face the whole time, but we're going to get in it. Breakdown Friday. This is how we do it today. We are covering the topic of health and health within the Black community. Just had the clip of Minister Farrakhan talking about concepts of health as far as things we should eat and things we shouldn't eat. That's based off the ideas given to us by Elijah Muhammad in his book Eat to Live. So the framework of this conversation is Black health. What are we eating? What are we not eating? Are we exercising? What are we doing to our body, and what are we putting in our body? Analyzing all of that, because we have the highest health disparities in the country. So we need to talk about our health, one of the 9 areas of human activity. So we need to talk about it. We're going to talk about what's going on, then we're going to get into the solutions. So, Pat, your face is looking like that. Let's go ahead and tell us what's on your mind. Because your face is like that for about 3 minutes.
Well, I agree with him that we should be students of what we eat, right?
Mhm.
And we should learn as much as we can about what we eat and how our digestive system works. And we should make sure that we are well researched on those two subjects. Even if you're not like somebody that's big into fitness or anything like that, like this is serious. You should take a serious interest in what you eat and what it does to your body. So I agree with him on that. And I'm trying to stay positive.
You basically you disagree on some of the things he's saying to eat and not eat.
Well, all right, so here it is, right?
Go ahead.
So rice. We'll start there. Brown rice and white rice are two different things. Browning the rice in the pan, browning white rice in a pan does not make it brown rice. It doesn't give it the same, nutritional value as brown rice. Now, you could brown it in that pan, and in that pan also have a bunch of other nutrients and things in that pan that could then coat the rice. But then the issue you run into is when you boil the rice, when you add water to it, all of the nutrients shift to the water. And you're left once again with white rice. So if we're talking about like and I'm bringing this up because I've heard people talk a lot about the Maillard reaction, I believe is what it's called, when you brown food, the chemical reaction that occurs between the heat that's exchanged and the food that's in contact with the heat that causes food to brown. And a lot of people think that if you brown the food, you're making it healthy, and that's just not an accurate thing to say. Then there's the idea that you can somehow remove the starch from rice.
Right, that's what he was talking about. And the browning process, the browning and boiling process would remove the starch.
Rice is starch. You can't remove. That's like saying if you boil the rice long enough, you remove the rice from the rice. You got the bran and you got the germ. The bran is the brown part that has all the nutrients. They cut that off and you get white rice. But rice it is a starch. That's like saying if you put a white person in the oven, they become black. A black person. That's just not, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. Y'all might correct me, but to my knowledge, you can't make a starch not be a starch because you made it a different color. So there's that. Then there's the statement about sweet potatoes being,
Yeah, that was the first time your face crunched up.
well, because
I
right,
like sweet
so here,
potatoes.
right, I don't
I
have a
ain't gonna
problem
lie.
with people that don't want to eat sweet potatoes. That's cool. I don't have no beef with that. But sweet potatoes are not hard on your stomach. They're not hard on your digestive system. Now we can argue back and forth about the nutritional value of the sweet potato, and that's not even an argument I'm like trying to engage in. If you don't want to eat sweet potatoes, don't eat sweet potatoes. There are tons of other healthy options, healthier options out there available to you than the sweet potato. I'm by no means standing on the square of saying sweet potatoes are a necessary staple in anybody's diet. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is when you start spitting out information that is inaccurate, you lead us to a place where now you're being counterproductive to progress. And that's where my face was twisting. Do I agree with a lot of what he, like, when he talked about the onions and the garlic um being blood purifiers? That's accurate. They do detoxify the blood. They have a lot of other health benefits. It's also accurate that if you consume a lot of onions and garlic, people ain't gonna want to be around you. I know that. My
What?
wife used to love garlic, and and
What?
and and, and that was a discussion.
Well, I think also what you're getting at too is philosophies, because
Yes,
every time I hear him, because I watched this maybe 3 or 4 times, so every time I hear him get to the garlic piece, I think about the video I saw of Dr. Sabi saying you shouldn't eat garlic, and so that's a difference of philosophy that it goes there. But the first thing you said is people should do their research
absolutely.
on the information that they gather. Um, I'm not one to tell people overall what your diet should be. Like you just said, we're not here to tell you what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. That's not what we're here to tell you. But what we are here to talk about is foods that are healthy and foods that are unhealthy, and diets that are healthy. Diets, well, not even getting into diets, just the foods and
Food,
lifestyles that are
eating
healthy versus
habits,
lifestyle.
lifestyles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
eating habits, lifestyles, and things. So that's where, you know, I kind of, you know what? That's funny too, because I know you technical Ted. So I kind of be when I see nigga, I like Pat gonna say
well,
something.
I was trying because I'm trying, right? Like my thing with health, like, because we all have
Keep doing
different
it though.
views. We
Keep
all
doing
have
that
different
shit though.
views on health. My thing is that there's only one understanding of the way the body works, because the body works. Now we all process things differently, but the mechanisms and the machinations that the body uses to process things is the same for all of us. So we should, so if we're going to have debates about um so we can't have debates about the way the digestive system works, because that's an objective fact. Like there's no
Right,
debate about that. We know
right.
how the shit works. So when I hear people giving philosophical advice on eating based off fallacies and understanding on how the digestive system works, that's where I start to go into, okay, let's address it. This isn't to say that what you're saying to do isn't beneficial. It's just pointing out the fact that the processes you're saying make it beneficial. Those processes don't actually work like that. And that's where you run into an area where you have people now saying all of the crazy stuff they saying. Like, I don't want to get it because I feel like that's gonna take. But we've all heard people saying crazy shit about health and diet.
Okay, so context, people. When Pat is saying we've heard a lot of crazy stuff, he's not referring to Minister
No,
Farrakhan.
not Farrakhan.
I'm saying that because look, he's talking about conversations that we've had in the past years about a lot of the supposed health gurus who've come and gone. And when we say come and gone, we mean like their spark of their career come and gone, not necessarily they come and gone. We're not talking about Dr. Sabian, none. We're talking about others. So put that out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm in so much trouble. I feel like.
I mean, man, that's your role.
PC,
that's your role.
Save us, save me,
my man. Shout out to Philly Phil. Philly Phil be in the comments. That's why he call you Patrick, that wild boy, because everybody already know.
Well,
that was an interesting reaction, PC.
Because everybody now, one thing I will do, I'll give them credit for trying to devise a way to get Black people to eat healthier. At the time that Elijah Muhammad came out, Black people were pretty much, hog mogs and all the plantation diet that especially, in the South. And as we know, Chicago in particular was one of the cities that was populated by the upward migration of Black people who were chased out of the South, in states like Mississippi and Alabama and Texas. So, they brought their diets with them. And along with that came bad health, so you talk to, even, and then Detroit, the Chicago, Detroit area, they was primarily from those regions. So I can understand that, and I appreciate anybody's attempt at trying to provide Black people with a blueprint for doing something better. That said, times have changed, and we've learned a lot more about the nutritional value of foods. We've learned a lot more about the effectiveness of certain foods versus the others. You actually learn, because a lot of times I think when people think you wash the starch off, you wash the
husk.
Yeah, well, it's because it's a little floury, right? Yeah. So that's part of the starch. You can rinse it, but you can't get rid of the starch. You can get rid of some byproduct starch, but you can't necessarily get rid of all the starch. But I think it's what's most important is that we find a best practice that actually works to help us, because we do. I mean, if you look at Black people in America right now, we're an obese people. There are times that I struggle with the weight, but thankfully I lost about 80 pounds over the last year and a half or so. Strictly by eating better, working out, and movement. You know what I'm saying? So, but a lot of people don't understand what diet is, and the fact that even now we have to recalibrate this because food is not produced with the same nutrients that was in it just 50 years ago. I mean, when you think about the big plates and dinners, family dinners, we ate real healthy plates every night as children and didn't gain too much weight because there was nutrients in the food. Nowadays, a lot of food is generated, but the ground that it even comes in is not nutrient. It's nutrient deficient. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same ground over and over and over again. And eventually you won't have any nutrients in that plot. So we have to redevelop a way to address this matter. And it's important that we do, because a lot of people are replacing their diet with supplements, supplemental vitamins, supplemental minerals, which are good, but it doesn't replace the natural absorption that comes from eating something that was grown in the earth or eating, even if you want to talk about meat, from cows that actually ate grass instead of cardboard boxes and whatever else they're throwing into, the mix for them to eat these days.
Yeah, and because PC brings up a good point about the food we eat, right? Like the nutrients in the meat we eat comes from the things that that animal ate. It's the circle of life is a real thing, and that is something that amazes me. When you hear people talking about how it don't matter if the cow, it don't matter what the cow ate, it don't matter
Yeah,
what the
do
pig
you?
ate.
You are
Um,
what you eat. That means everything.
right, and it's like no, the cows that are grass fed have have better nutritional value in their meat because they're eating things that came from fertile ground. And not only that, but then there's the whole four stomach thing and the bacteria. But you get into that, but it goes back into what the cow was able to consume creates the nutrients that are stored in the muscle fibers, which is what we eat.
Mhm.
So I think that's important. He brought up another good point about the active lifestyles. I think a lot of black people need to understand one, back in the day, right? A
Mhm.
lot of us grew up really only eating 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner.
Mhm.
And if you had that raggedy ass lunch at school, that was whatever. But a lot of us really only, oh my bad, Joe. But a lot of us really only ate 2 meals a day, and then we were extremely active. Like you spent all day outside playing, or doing something, or whatever. Nowadays, we spend most of our time sitting down, and we're eating 4 and 5 times a day.
See, that's where I was gonna go with this because overall, this the the way that Farrakhan is saying to eat, the way Dr. Say, we've all said this, we've said this to each other multiple times. If you follow what Farrakhan say or Elijah Muhammad, follow what he says, you follow what Dr. Sabi say, you follow what Yada say, some Dr. Layla OF, you follow and some of the others. But the ones who the diets that at least make sense, following them. The worst thing that's gonna happen to you is you get healthier. That's the worst thing that's gonna happen to you, that you get healthier. Now, that doesn't excuse critical thinking. That doesn't excuse you doing your own research to make sure that you're putting the things in your body that work best for you. I went vegan and I learned that I have to eat meat because of my makeup. B12, genetically, my family has B12 deficiency. One of the best ways to get my B12 is through meats.
Mhm.
So specifically through beef. I didn't eat beef. I didn't eat beef for like 8 years. My B12 was low. Matter of fact, my mom's B12 was so low that she was passing out. So her B12 level was so low, she now has to take the shots. So I have to take the pills every day, and then I eat the meat. I eat beef, and that helped raise my B12 level. So now, if I would have been going to the doctor then, I would have found that out when I started back going to the doctor, getting my blood work and stuff done. That's when I found out that I had a B12 deficiency and a low white blood count, both genetic, right? So making sure at one point, making sure that we are getting medical care, medical attention, and doing all that. But in addition to eating healthy, like you said, the active lifestyles. We are bigger now. Black America is fatter now. More black people are obese now because we have more sedentary lifestyles. In the
Mhm.
sense of us needing to be more active, getting more exercise, we're lazy in that. We're not lazy overall, people, but in the sense of exercise and making sure that we are active and doing what we're supposed to do, we've been lazy in that. That's why we're the most obese in the country.
Well,
That's why we have disparities.
Joe, because a lot of, and that's why people have really changed from saying that they're vegan to being plant-based now, because that just means that you eat more vegetables than you do meat, red meats, and things of that nature. Now, unfortunately, we've become consumers of a leaf that has made us more lazy, made us have the munchies a little more. That leaf is cannabis. and
Right.
and so I don't know anybody that smoke weed and feel like going for a workout. You know what I'm saying? I'm just you
I
know
do.
Facts.
you know
I do. It's not a lot. It's only the athletes that I know. Only the athletes. Everybody else do not.
yeah, I mean, I get you, but for the most part, everybody ain't an athlete.
Yeah, you're right. Right. That's still a one less than 1%.
Yeah. Uh, but to go back to what you were saying though about the deficiencies and getting your numbers checked is very important. Um, also listen to your body because your body itself will tell you if you start to feel lethargic, if you start to have issues with concentrating, if you start to have issues with being able to, if you produce a lot of mucus. Like I read in the comments that somebody said, "Oh, every time I hear that brother talk,
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
mucus." And I wanted to let that person know, yeah, I was dealing with recovering from a sinus infection
They
due
were
to
talking about all of us.
COVID. Right.
Because that brother commented like 3, 4 videos, but in
Yeah,
that,
mucus.
yeah, because
Yeah.
he would hear us coughing or something,
Yeah.
but in that, like, we're not gonna stop this to go spit some mucus, but also that also means that we're
I mean, we
doing things
could.
to break the mucus up.
Worse.
Yeah, no, but also because this is a conversation I had with my mom too, and where I'm consuming things to help break up the mucus to get it, and I have to. The only way to get it out of me is, and when you start to break it up, you're gonna get the phlegm and stuff. So those things do happen. But I do get on the other side, I do get what they're saying about not consuming foods that could produce a lot more mucus. That's what they're saying. That's what
Well,
my mom will be saying. That's what the guy is saying.
a lot of it's industrial. I mean, if and a lot of people still haven't understood, like nobody's really done a lot of research on milk, especially cow that you mucus. And
Are you going Robotron? The feds and got him.
go out again.
Yeah, he went Robotron.
Okay. Damn it. It went out again. My bad,
Say,
y'all. Okay.
say what you
Oh
saying
my
again.
God. So that's blame it on Verizon Fios, man. Verizon Fios. That's my cable company. That's my internet company. So I ain't gonna take this out. The the fact that most people don't understand where their milk is coming from, that the majority of milk is mucus and pus. But we consume it in a lot of different things, a lot of different fashions. If you don't consume it directly by drinking milk, but if you have butter, it's the same byproduct. So we consume a lot of things, the mucus that goes into your body, and when your body breaks it down, it goes into your arteries and things of that nature. Eventually, it finds its ways to your lungs. Uh, a lot of the ways that we eat now is based in survival. Most people can't eat healthy because most people can't afford to. It's like a tax that's paid. The poor people pay a bigger tax for everything. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying?
I'm push back. I gotta push back on that a bit, and I push back on that. Not. I'm only gonna push back on that from my city.
Mhm.
If I know for a fact in my city, and once again, not everybody, because I do agree with that, but not totally. There are some areas, because I know in here in Tallahassee, there even the food deserts,
Mhm.
there are gardens in the food deserts that black people are not taking advantage of. Free gardens in the food deserts that are not taking advantage of. But on the other side, like I said, I don't totally disagree, but I know what I see in my city. I see people not taking advantage of the free gardens. And here there's a flea market where you can get the foods free. There's a store called Fresh for Less. You can get the stuff for cheap, and it's cheap options. But also in the Frenchtown area of Tallahassee, you do have 2 vegan restaurants, and the price for a damn black bean burger, goddamn black bean burger and fries, like $20, $25. But then there's a lemon pepper chicken where you can spend $4.99 and get a big ass box of chicken tenders and some fries. So I'm just a slight pushback, but not a total pushback, because I know there are some areas where some people have access to cheaper, healthier foods. They're just not accessing them.
No, well, what I mean by that too is poor people have a poverty way of thinking,
That
and
too,
poverty,
yes.
and it's not to blame anybody for being having that mindset if that's the only thing you reconcile with in terms of survival. I mean, there's a whole lot. This is a very sophisticated situation. So, when you talk about how people are eating, habits are formed, convenience is created, and sometimes fast food is a way to get a break sometimes at night. I'm not, and it's a lot of it, honestly, is because we're so broken as a people that we don't see we don't understand how to work together as a village. Because if we had a village, if we had families if we actually cared about building families, I'm talking about, man, wife, children, things of that nature, we actually cared about that, then we would be able to diversify a lot of our attention and energy, and we would be able to amplify our abilities to think in that collective, and that collective would say, hey, the village has this lot over here. Let's go help them. But then sometimes it's up here we have I forget what they call them, but it's like a partnership programs up here. It's a name for it specifically, where people will volunteer a couple hours, co-ops, where people
Yeah, yeah,
volunteer hours. They'll invest a little bit of money and volunteer hours to run the co-ops, and the co-ops have partnerships with farms up this area, because in the Northeast you can't have crop all year round unless a warehouse with a green that operates like a greenhouse. But we do have those. But a community, you have to think like a community to even think about putting your time into something like that. And our mind, when people are defeated, they just throw in the towel, man. And I think a lot of people just throwing the towel and taking the easy way out. And I know it's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but it is what it is. Um, People are not going to do all those things because they feel like they're going to give up some type of freedom that they don't even have access to work in partnerships with and collaborate with other people. So you're right, Joe. Those things are there. And we even have some lots up here, some farms up here, and people aren't taking advantage of. But until we can actually get to the point where that mental aspect, that mental congestion and spiritual congestion that people are dealing with, that only allows them to robotically exist, that poverty mindset is going to be the biggest killer of us all, because it leads directly to all those unhealthy choices, whether it be food, whether it be everything else, diet in particular, because we're shooting for convenience and time away. Now you think about a household where, unfortunately, we have a single parent epidemic in the Black community. 80% of the children are born in single parent homes. You compile that to a place where somebody has maybe 3 or 4 children. That person is not going to be most likely motivated to do anything more than to find some peace from dealing with a house full of children with not a lot of community resources. I mean, community resources, I ain't talking about auntie this or go see grandma this weekend. I'm just talking about um, being able to just rest. It just don't exist. And that's where we see a lot of the issues that, present themselves.
I agree with that. I think the mindset is a big problem.
yes.
Um and I can't really add on to anything PC said with regards to the mindset because I think he said everything. So I'm gonna go back to these lazy motherfuckers that don't want to go outside.
I mean, I think I do think a bit of tough love is needed in this particular video because
Yeah, it is.
we know, like, come on, let's stop playing with health. We know what the hell we doing. Like, especially in our community, being obese is being encouraged. Like, let's just be real. But even before obesity was starting to be encouraged, Black people have been choosing taste over health. I've been I've been working in public health. Listen to what I'm saying. I've been working in public health for the past 13 years, public health. And in public health is when I've seen some of the most unhealthy people. I remember we was at a meeting one time. We was at a staff meeting, and the staff meeting was surrounding health and wellness and eating better. And they was trying to encourage people to drink more water. And one of the girls stood up and said, drink water? Shoot, I can't drink water unless it's cold. The other girl, I can't drink water unless you put the little Splenda thing or the little taste things in there. You don't put that in there. I can't drink water because I don't like the taste of water. I know health professionals, nurses, high-level nurses, doctors, people who do not drink water and eat vegetables. Because they say, no, I don't like water and I don't like vegetables. So I don't eat vegetables or drink water. And you are the health professionals.
Yeah, but knowing something and applying it are two different things.
Right, but you are the professionals.
Yeah, and and I tell people this all, you'd be surprised what the professionals don't know that you think they should. But here's the rub, right? And I'm gonna say this up front and plain. We eat too much. That's the simple truth of it.
Yeah.
You cannot outwork a bad diet. You cannot outwork even with foods that are healthy for you. There's a such thing as eating too much. And the fact of the matter is, most people, especially the older you get, and it's a crutch. It's not a crutch, but it's really a trap that when we younger, especially those people that are athletic, that play sports and whatnot, you get in the habit of eating a lot because your body needs all that fuel. And then as you get older, you continue those same eating habits. Nobody really talks. And then when we start talking about losing weight, the problem why 75 to 80% of people put all the weight back on within a few years of losing it is that nobody is talking about the post-diet plan, because it shouldn't be a diet in the first place. It should be a lifestyle change. But the fact of the matter is, like I said, when you're eating, like we'll take cereal for instance, right? Everybody I know loves cereal. I love cereal.
The cereals.
Right? My favorite cereal in the world, Honey Smacks. I love Honey Smacks with the frog on them.
Hey, they just put marshmallows and Fruit Loops, bro.
Well, I don't do I don't do the marshmallow nothing, but I do bang on Fruit Loops. But
bruh, and it's $1 at the Dollar General, bruh.
But here's the thing, right? You have people, right? Like I got a thing right here, right? One serving size of cereal is this. This is one cup.
Nah.
So that salad bowl is
this is one cup. I'm holding it from all sides so you can see it. This is one cup, right? This is one serving of cereal. Now look at your cereal box. And you see the calories on the side? It says something like 130, 140 calories per serving. That's 130 calories per one of these. Now, I can say without even having been in your house, if you black, you eating at least 4 or 5 of these in one bowl. At least.
That's just and then the next question is how many bowls you eat.
Yeah, right. If you still got milk in there, you're gonna eat some more cereal.
Right.
Especially we got the Cinnamon Toast Crunch that made the milk good.
Right. And then what PC just said, right? The milk, guess what?
Puss.
One of these is one serving of milk too.
Yeah.
So you got 4 servings, you got 4 of these in cereal, right? And you know the cereal ain't complete unless you got enough milk in it to actually see the milk through the cereal. So that means you got at least 4 of these in milk too. So the milk, you look at your milk jug, right? One of these in milk is what, like 80, 90 calories, something like that. So already we had 1,000 calories and you ain't even done with breakfast yet. Guess what? Guess what happened for the rest of the day? We only supposed to eat what? Men 2,500, women 2,000. And you start out your day before you eat anything else. You started out with 2 big ass bowls of cereal. That's like 1,500 calories right there. You're eating too much.
Yeah, and that's just if you eating cereal. Let's talk about the grits, the bacon, the eggs, all the other stuff that people would normally eat for breakfast, right? Portion size, we don't. I can say this because I do not have portion control. I have never had portion control, and that is something that I've been trying to work on. And I know a lot of people will be like, "Well, you skinny, you don't need portion control." Well, I tell you, let me share my screen. I'm tell you what I don't want to be built like, and just because you skinny don't mean nothing. Like, see this Dale Gribble? This is not sexy. This is an unhealthy skinny man. This is what I know he white, but don't worry about it, just the best example. This is what an unhealthy skinny man looks like. That is not sexy. When he take his shirt off, he does not look like he is a threat to anybody. He looks like he is, because this is the skinny person with the overweight person heart. And you know, a lot of people be like, "Well, my bad. Go ahead."
No, go ahead.
You know, a lot of people, because people tell me all the time that I don't need to work out, I don't need to exercise, I don't have to worry about portion control. And I'm like, yes, the hell I do. I'm a human just like you.
No, I'm gonna cut you off right there because that's the stupidity of people. Everybody need to work out. Everybody need portion control. Like we're seeing this right now in India. There's an epidemic of skinny fat people. Skinny people with fat people diseases.
That's exactly why I showed Dale Gribble. And that's exactly one of the things I want to. I'm glad I was going to hit up on, but I'm glad you saying it like that. Look, just because you are not obese doesn't mean your ass can just eat what you want. Because I hear people like built like me, my frame people and smaller people all the time, saying, yeah, I hear people all the time saying I can eat what I want, and technically, yes, I can eat what I want because my metabolism is a bit faster, so I will burn it a bit quicker. But I can't eat what I want if I actually want to be healthy.
Joe, I'm gonna push back on that, and then I'm gonna make one more point, and then I'm gonna shut up because I think PC trying to jump in. So the thing I'm push back on is this idea that certain people's metabolisms are radically different than other people's. Now, I'm not saying there aren't differences in metabolism, but when you account for what people are actually eating, you find that the people that are thinner tend to either not eat as much or they eat food that's low in calories and high in nutritional value. And that's part of the reason why they don't eat as much, because foods like that are filling. So they're not as hungry as much. So like, I'm not saying that metabolism is not a factor, but I am saying people are overstating the impact of metabolism and why people are shaped differently. A big part of that, I think 80-90% of that, and I got numbers to back it up, but I'm sure people got numbers the other way too. That's why I said I think a big part of that is what we choose to eat. And I want to go back to what Farrakhan said, because Farrakhan did actually make a lot of good points in that video too. I know I beat up on some of the other things, but when he talked about rice, rice is a food that has a high, I think it's a glycemic index. It does cause blood sugar to spike. So if you're running into a situation where you're eating a lot of foods that cause a spike in blood sugar, but then you're not active as well, now we're running into a problem where we might be introducing components that could lead to you being insulin resistant. Now we're talking about diabetes, and we know in the Black community, more than half of us are either outright diabetic or pre-diabetic, meaning we either got it or we on the way to having it.
Speaking of that, according to the CDC, as far as diabetes, and it's a comparison of African American or Black folk. Why I said that? I'm reading that. Black folk to white folk. So ages 18 to 34, there's 1.5 Black folk with diabetes, 1.4 white folk. Ages 35 to 49, 10% of Black folk to 6% of white folk. Ages 50 to 64, 23% of Black folk, 14% of white folk. Of course, you know they always measure, but basically, Black people still have the highest rates of diabetes, stroke, and blood pressure out of any group of people, out of all these groups of people. Like you're saying, the diet. Now, You are right. You are correct in as far as the calorie deficit and well the smaller amount of calories some people my size eat. But I know folk my size who they don't eat healthy at all, and they don't eat as many times, but when they eat, it's trash. I'll say that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't eat right. I mean, it's the American way. I was just watching something earlier, and it was a man. He was saying that if they're advertising for it, if there's advertising for it, then it's probably the food is probably going to poison you because you don't have to advertise good food. Like the food that's good for you, it sells itself. So if I got to pay a high price to make you want this food, the chances are I'm selling you something that's bad for you. And the more the advertising, the worse the food is. And we know the fast food chains that just consistently run ads all day long. So, and we know the power of advertising.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't understand how the subliminal mind works. So they don't understand what they're taking in and how it influences them. And now you also have these gadgets that also functions as an exterior subliminal mind. And so your gadgets are actually promoting these same things to you. You know, your cell phones and things of that nature. Um, we have to reboot our survival because that's what we're really talking about. You know, and one of the things that also adds to all of these issues we're talking about is the high stress levels of just being black in America.
Mm-hmm.
The high amounts of stress, it adds to the bad cholesterol in your body. And when you
Yeah.
combine that with a bad diet, you're almost guaranteed to have a bad outcome. So we this is why we always say black people need to start nation building and working together. Because an African proverb, many hands make light work. If we're not as stressful, if we're not as stressed out, then maybe, you know, because we're working collaboratively, maybe we can actually lighten that stress load and increase our productivity and our efficiency in our day-to-day living, where we have an opportunity to actually plan these things out. Because the way society is designed right now, either you are disabled and you're at home all day, or you got to work 12 to 14 hours a day just to make ends meet. And if you're working 12, like 10-hour days or 10-hour shifts, you don't really have time to implement a healthy diet because you're not even eating at regimented times that would provide. So you're not supposed to eat 3 hours before you go to sleep. Uh, but if you get off work and you don't have a break and get off work at 7, 8 o'clock at night, and you got to be up by 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to eat at 6 o'clock. You're going to eat at 7 or 8 o'clock, try to go to bed by 9 or 10 o'clock to get up at it. So you're not even going to get your full night of rest. But that's another aspect of this too. We don't even really sleep right.
We
So,
gotta sleep, brother.
right. And sleeping is, and I was explaining this to a young man earlier today. When you talk about working out, sleep is just as important, if not more important, than anything else you do.
Bruh. No, bruh. These motivational speakers tell you that you got to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, bruh. What you mean? Sleep is for suckers, dog. Team, no sleep. What you
I
mean,
sleep,
bruh?
I'm dead.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you finna
well,
be dead.
guess what, man? Guess what? That's why you have a lot of vegans who don't make it to be 60 years old. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have a lot of workout people who die working out. They're literally in the gym. And these cats that work out every day are dying from hypertension because they don't get that adequate rest. They don't understand what nutrients that need to be in their body. The reason why, you know, sea moss became such a popular thing is because of all the essential elements that it provides to your body that your body stops producing after a certain age. We're not even educated on that to the point where your body just drops. It just stops. You know, the shit you were born with, excuse me, Joe, I had a pat moment. The
No,
stuff you were
no,
born
no,
with.
no. YouTube changed that rules a bit so you can say shit. You all right.
Okay. Okay. Shit. You say fuck? Okay, no, we're gonna
Yeah,
stick
yeah,
with
you
that.
can. You can say fuck shit, damn, all that. Just not all, just not continuously though, you know.
Like y'all just did.
I wasn't continuous. That's not continuously throughout the video. I read the rules. If you do it throughout the video, then you know.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So I just can't talk for a long period of time. Got you.
So, so you know, when we're taking all these things into consideration, understanding the importance of it, and understanding that the importance of the combination of modern medicine and its marriage is marriage to traditional meds or traditional health remedies and roots and things of that nature. There's a balance there that needs to be reconvened and restudied. A
Yeah,
lot of
we
professionals don't like, the doctors don't like to talk
yeah.
about this. And then you got the naturopaths that say don't go to a doctor unless it's a trauma situation. And there needs to be a marriage in this, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And as we know, your diet, your food is your medicine. You know what I'm saying? And we need to understand the importance of that balance.
Yeah. What we put in our bodies, what we do to our bodies, how we maintain our bodies. Like we got to start thinking about the maintenance of our bodies, but also once again, like you talked about advertising. You got to remember nowadays is feelings over facts. So they're literally telling obese people, and mainly the obese black women, they're telling obese black women that it's okay to be obese because we want you to feel good. All right. Well, according to CDC, African Americans ages 18 to 49 are 2 times more likely to die from heart disease than whites. Black people ages 35 to 64 years are 50 times more likely to have high blood pressure than whites.
Mm-hmm.
But the unhealthy lifestyles are literally being encouraged. And my bad, Pat, but I think my mind goes there sometimes. So I think it's a larger part of the scheme because PC, you always talking about we at war, and you're always talking about war don't always look like what we would think on the battlefield, right? So you have women who are not black who are encouraging black women to be obese. That sounds like war to me.
Oh, it is. Go ahead, Pat. I'm sorry. Pat look like he's about
No. Go ahead.
Oh, listen. This is where, and this is where we have to address the elephant in the room, figuratively and literally. Black women, you're being played. But
Yeah.
black women, you can't be offended by us telling you you're being played. This is not no tit for tat BS that typically happens, where you might be overweight and you feel as though you're being attacked. We have to be able to offer critique from a place of love, and you have to be adult enough to understand we're not trying to be malicious with this information. We're trying to save your damn life. And because you want to, live out your best Lizzo, and this body's positivity is not going to work. I mean, we got to call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is your enemy, your open enemy, promoting a lifestyle that is literally deleting you. And you're not trying to take it seriously because you think it's cute. You think the attention is worth, the juice is worth the squeeze because the attention is what you're seeking, is what you desire. And you're trying to fulfill your appetite for attention with all this other body positivity BS. And it's amazing to me because even on commercials, I was noticing advertising, the Asian girl is nice and fit. The white girl is nice and fit. The Latina girl is nice and fit. The black girl,
And they call it thick. They mask it as thick. I mean, it's crazy because we talk about historically how black men have been dying earlier because of bad diets. But then the black women come back around and just adopt the diet under the idea of body positivity and do worse stuff. Like we really trying to kill ourselves according to the CDC.
Well, it's not just the CDC. We can see it live and in person in the color.
No, I know, but I just got to, because I just got to give them these stats because they help hammer home. So the CDC say percentage of men aged 20 and over with obesity for Black men is 38.7. Percentage of women aged 20 and over with obesity is 55.9.
Well, I think one of the, and this is where I think it does go into a lifestyle decision, because a lot of people are saying, or a lifestyle reality check, because a lot of people are saying, well, my grandmother and all of them ate the same food that I'm eating. And so that's when you get into a conversation about the
Quality of food and
nutritional
lifestyle.
value, the quality of the food. But you also again go back into this conversation about lifestyle.
So
Go ahead.
just real quick. So we were doing outreach one time, and we were in the hood on off Lake Bradford over here, and we were doing blood pressure checks from some of the men that hang out in front of the store. And so they were going to check the blood pressure of this one older man. I call him Mr. Walking Man because he walks everywhere. So when they were going to check his blood pressure, they was assuming that his blood pressure was going to be high because he was one of those men standing out in front of the store. But once again, I call him Mr. Walking Man because he walks everywhere. When they checked his blood pressure was good. And I told him, because he walks everywhere, he has a different lifestyle. He moves. He doesn't just sit there all day. And then nowadays, when you can get the food delivered to you.
Yeah.
But my bad, not to cut you off.
No. But it proves the point. A lot of our grandparents and great grandparents, they lived more active lifestyles, and there's no way around that. We don't move. We don't, and movement doesn't just affect your ability to burn calories, but it also affects your cognitive abilities. The brain works better when the body is in motion. That's just how that works. You learn things better when you're moving while you're learning them, and the brain operates on a higher level when your body gets regular bouts of moderate to intense motion. So these are other benefits, but I think when we get to the advertising piece, because we also have to talk about where food science is right now, when and our brains and bodies are still wired to be in a famine or an abundance mentality. And so when you're biting into the Cheeto and wondering why the bag just disappeared, like that's intentional. It's meant to be greasy so that it tricks your body into thinking that it's filled with calories and things that provide nourishment, things that will shut off the inhibitions of your brain, of your body, that will stop you from eating. Those things get lowered when you eat certain types of food, because typically those foods that are high in calories means that these are foods that we need to store away so that we can survive when they're not there. Salt is another one. So you're talking about grease, you're talking about salt, you're talking about crisp things. Like that's a fucking potato chip. It's designed to have the texture, the taste, and the feel, and to even melt in your mouth the way they do. They're designed to do that so that when you look up, the whole bag is gone. So we got to start thinking about it on that level as well. I think as a whole, like when we're talking about health, one, I do think we need to bring shame back. And I think that's just in general, period, all around the
Just
board.
having that conversation earlier.
It's too many people like that. Like, look, I know it don't feel good to be shamed. Guess what? It ain't supposed to. Shame is supposed to prevent you from doing things that either hurt yourself or that hurt the collective. So even if it don't hurt you, it might hurt the collective. So you don't do it. We need to bring shame back. And shame is not a bad thing. It's not. If I could tell you all the times I've been shamed in my life, and the vast majority of those times, if I'm being objective about it, were beneficial to me. Now, where there's some assholes that just shamed me because they felt like getting their rocks off, sure. But that's what comes with the territory. That's what comes with living in the society of other people. But we need to bring shame back. And the reason I'm saying this is because I can't walk up to an unhealthy person that I know and love and care about and tell them you're unhealthy. Why don't we do these things to make you healthy? Because if I do that, I'm shaming them. So you know what I say? Let's just bring shame back. So
Feelings over facts.
if you're my friend or somebody that I care about or somebody that is even interacting with me and you ask my opinion, and sometimes even if you don't ask my opinion, but you need to have your shame shield up at
Hey,
all times
hey, hey, you
because
you
I'm
you you
flaming.
you can't call yourselves gods and goddesses and adopt the worst lifestyles, the worst
No, and
diets,
let's
the
talk
whatnot,
about
all that,
that too. No, let's
all
talk
that.
about that too. Let's talk about that too. Right? The only fat god I've ever seen was Dionysus, the god of drunkards in Greek mythology. So let's what kind of gods and goddesses are we where we live in communities that we don't control, with children that we don't control, with health habits and lifestyles that we don't control? What the fuck kind of god? What are you the god of? What are you ruling over? Like we need the words we
Um,
use, I think, prop us up into this bullshit mentality of thinking that I'm perfect, I'm good. Because when you think of a god or a goddess, you think of a perfect being. That ain't you. I
so
smelt your breath. It stunk. If you a god with stank breath, I'm not worshiping you.
the
If you a
words are like
goddess with
drugs.
stank vagina, I'm not laying down with you. Like, let's be real about like you a god with sweaty, stanky balls.
The words are like drugs, though. The words are drugs because they make people feel better about the the inconsistencies, about the low quality of life. Like we talk about it all the time, how we celebrate the worst. Well, once again, within our diets and the way we eat, if you are what you eat, then we've been trashed for a long time because that's what we be eating.
Yeah,
And
a
that's
Let's
why
lot
just
of
y'all
be real.
smell like that.
Let's just look. I'm having conversations, and this once again, it's a generational thing. So of course, it's our generation fault. But I'm having conversations with people my age and older, and we're all talking about how we look younger than the 20-year-olds. Right. Well, you raised the 20-year-olds too. We raised these 20-year-olds that
Yeah, that
don't
ain't a
look
compliment.
healthy. Right.
yeah,
And this all comes back from the generation of I want my kids to have a better life than I had. Yeah, well, now your kids look older than you.
well, I mean, I got like 4 points, right? I'm trying to make it fast. So, first point, I'm gonna go back to. I'm gonna do it like in reverse. Um, what was the last thing you was talking about, Pat? The gods and goddesses and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you, um, it's not necessarily gods, but more so demons that people represent, and it's the seven deadly sins. When you think
Mm,
about it, you know,
I agree with that.
you know what I'm saying, and that pretty much seems to be the culture we've adopted all over as Black people. We live by those things, being petty, being slutty, being all types of shit. We live by that. And being
Us.
greedy, being envious, and you know, slovenly, and all those other. We embrace that shit. Um, Another aspect too is, you know, generationally, because I got y'all by a decade. You know what I'm saying? And it used to be a time when getting fast food was a treat. You know,
I remember that.
going to
I remember that.
McDonald's was a big fucking deal.
I
Mm-hmm.
got McDonald's at the house.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Like we ate cheeseburgers on bread. We
Mm-hmm.
Right. Them are still my favorite. Look, man, I went to a church event and they had the little hand patties and the
Nah,
little
they be
bread. Oh
busting.
man, them the best burgers. I
Yeah,
ain't
they
gonna
be
front.
bruh,
busting.
bruh, we had the big block of cheese. You had to have a cheese slicer
With
to
the
slice
red thing on the back.
and
Yeah.
slice it, right? And it never got a perfect slice. If you got a perfect slice, you were celebrating, right? So, but just to bring it home, man, this whole thing where Popeyes, just because you're there for lunch, that wasn't the case. In fact, there wasn't even Popeyes out when I was younger, not in the north, right? And um, and we were bare, like I said, McDonald's there. That was a treat. They didn't even have drive-throughs when we were growing up because people would come bring their family in for like once a week or once every 2 weeks to grab some McDonald's or whatever. Um, you now is conditioned every day. Um, the addiction, right? Let's not forget, man, that even on potatoes, there's sugar. And sugar is
Sugar
sugar is
addiction.
classified as a drug, a
Sugar
highly
addiction.
addictive drug. In fact,
Mhm.
sugar is on par with you know, stuff you know, you know what I'm saying?
Opioids.
Oh, well, not
Opioids.
opioids, but
Booger
We
sugar.
talking about booger sugar.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, you know. So, Scarface sugar.
Who's the first person to say booger sugar? That's funny as hell.
Right? These lifestyles that we've adopted, we talk about the chemical warfare, the biological warfare. This is stuff that goes on beneath the surface that people don't pay attention to on a day-to-day basis. And because this goes on beneath the surface, people don't see it as a threat. Sugar is not seen as a threat. I got it in my cabinet. I can buy it at the store. But yet and still, sugar is the main ingredient in just about everything else you pick up and eat, because sugar will keep you coming back. The the unnatural, right? Water, right? And they even put poison in some of the waters. Some of the water that you drink. You know what I'm saying? Not that water, but I'm just saying they
That
put
water got poison in it because it's got plastic particles in it.
Here you
bisphenol
go,
9,
technical.
which
Forget you,
is,
Theodore.
listen, it's artificial estrogen, right? And people wonder why so many men are dealing with, dysfunction, sexual dysfunction these days. Well, part of the reason is because we touch everything that goes against producing testosterone in our bodies. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different things in front, and you know what's funny about that? There's no problem with shame in that area. But let's not go. I digress. Um, but when we start talking about all these different things that are going on, like I said, this is a very sophisticated equation put together by mad scientists and think tanks that understand how to maintain controls over society. So if you're sick, I never have to worry about you rising up against me. I never have to worry about you tearing down the tyranny that we see taking place, like the Mississippi laws and policies that's going on right now to reintroduce Jim Crow to cities like Jackson that are primarily Black populated with Black officials running the city. You never have to worry about finding, us rising up when you find dead Black men who have had their heads cut off in cities in southern Mississippi and things of that nature. You never have to worry about us dealing with all those things. We're too sick to fight. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we need to think about what we eat and become strong enough to withdraw from this system, the systemic deletion culture that's literally making it where we don't have the 2035. They won't have to worry about us by 2025 at the rate we're going.
Nah, PC. I'm sorry, Joe, but I gotta correct PC on something.
I just want to say we ain't no threat.
He said that's the real reason why we need to be concerned about what we eat. I'm gonna say something that's gonna really resonate with the people. Right? Hear me. Which camera's on me? So hear me, people. We're gonna start with the fellas first. Fellas, we all know because Eddie Murphy has told us how to control your woman. If you want to make her go woo 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 well into your 50s and 60s, you need to have proper blood circulation and proper nutrients. That's eating healthy and being fit. All right. You want your dick to work without having to take blue pills?
Hey, heart health is connected to penis health. Heart health is connected to penis health.
So now that we got the men out the way, ladies, when you get offended because your man suggested maybe y'all should try some lubrication because your faucet ain't fauceting no more and your WAP just turned into app, eat some shit, some good shit, and work out. Do that for a couple months. Drink some water.
Lay off the liquor.
Drink some water. Drink some water, which is stank ash.
I got to bleep that out.
you say.
Nah, I ain't say go that far, Pat. I didn't say to go that far.
Anyways, drink some water and see your husband in the morning. Or your long-term boyfriend, or your girlfriend, whatever. See whoever you seeing. But because that's what we really care about, PC. You talking all about this fighting back against the system and building the nation. Nobody care about that. Look, women want to sit on something hard, and men want to feel something wet.
Yeah, that'll work. If that'll work, that'll work.
Yeah. Or how about this? Well, no, I was gonna say if you unhealthy, you can't get the bag, but they brag about having the dope boy bellies and the retirement bodies and stuff. So I can't go
You
there.
get a colostomy bag.
Hey man, look, just overall, being unhealthy is another reason why we aren't competitive now. I mean, there's our unhealthy mind states, our unhealthy spirituality, our unhealthy eating habits, our unhealthy lifestyles, everything about the majority of us that are unhealthy is one of the reasons why we're not competitive and we're not a threat to white supremacy or any other supremacy or any other system out there right now. Because we're not even, only people we're a threat to is our own selves.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to eat better. We have to live better. We have to stop choosing taste over health. That don't make sense. It doesn't make and then all these little weak diets that people keep half-assing through. Like, stop half-assing through the diets. Like, we don't have a lot of self-discipline because self-discipline is not translated into those areas, because the person who has discipline can be disciplined in many different areas. The self-discipline is lacking. That's why it's not translating into the exercise nor the lifestyle as far as the diets of what we're eating. Because I hear, and it's probably because we're in the South, but hearing people all the time who will argue you down about eating certain things. This what I want to eat. I want to eat. I'm just eating, and you talk about healthy lifestyles and you talk about cutting this out and cutting that out. Look, man, I've been watching people work out for like 5 years and they not getting smaller. I don't understand how you go to the gym on the regular, but you're not getting smaller. Like when I started seeing vegans who were getting fatter, I was like, oh, this ain't this. So veganism can't be it.
It go back to what we said earlier. You can't outwork a bad diet, and you can eat too much of anything.
Right. Well, he started off Mr. Fresh started off talking about eating too much spinach. Moderation, moderation and balance is key. I saw a video not too long ago, and they was talking about the alkaline diets and the alkalinity and things, and have a balanced diet. Like this, we have a lot of people trying to go too far to the alkaline side. And you got a lot of people who are posing as health gurus who are giving information, telling people or trying to encourage people eat an only fruit diet. That's not healthy to eat an only fruit diet. There's no balance in that. That don't make no damn sense.
And not to mention, fruit is high in sugar content.
Maybe do an OnlyFans diet.
I mean. Come on, man. But black folk will listen to anybody that look Afrocentric.
No, I mean, really, it ain't even. No, I was just gonna say, really, we'll listen to anybody that sound confident in saying whatever bullshit they saying. That's how we keep ending up here. They don't even have. I mean, honestly, you pay an Afrocentric tax if you stand up with an ankh and a dashiki. And even though a lot of them shits don't match up culturally, we don't know that, but. If you sound like you know what you're talking
about, West Side.
If you sound like you know what you're talking about, people will listen to you. And that's why I tell people, look, if you understand the way the body works, because there is no subjectivity in that. Like if I tell you that the body was designed to digest meat and you have bacteria all throughout your digestive system to process the vegetables that you eat, that's not my truth. That's the truth. All right. So once we get there, right, then we can start having these philosophical debates about what's best. But the problem we have now is we having conversations about 2 + 2 could equal 3 or 5, depending on how you look at it. No, bitch. No, it don't. 2 + 2 equal 4, no matter how the fuck you look at it.
But if you carry the one, you
But
ain't carry
see, but see, that type of logic leads into, well, I can have more calories because it's not going to do anything to me. But yeah, gradually look at it. Look at what has happened to you.
Yeah.
Nah,
You're nowhere close to your supposed goals.
well, a lot of it too is people think that we can, have shortcuts. You just had a interesting story about an international incident that occurred in Mexico just a few weeks ago, because the
The
sister wanted to have,
BBLs and stuff.
yeah, she wanted to go down there and get I think it was either BBL or a tummy tuck, and
Stop it.
but see, we want the shortcuts, the snatched waists, and this, that, and the other, and but the problem is the shortcuts don't change the long term goal. I think it was a female rapper that recently had all that stuff taken out of her. Recently, I forget what's her name, little what is it, Little China or something like that.
Black China.
Black China, yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Right. I'm like, wait, wasn't that a movie?
I love that movie, by the way. But yeah,
It's a good horrible movie.
It's a good movie.
yeah. That's what I like about it. Good horrible movie. Sharknado, love them. But but if you're always going to go for shortcuts, then you're never going to get the solution. In this microwavable society we live in, with attention spans is less than 8 seconds, people are not committed to that thing you just said earlier, Joe, being disciplined. Discipline. What do you mean? Somebody going to come around the corner with a belt? I'm too old for all that shit. It's like, we don't really understand what being disciplined means. And just the fact that you can be focused on something. Now, I've seen a lot of us focused on a lot of different things, goals and other things, but when it comes to our health and when it comes to our relationships with each other, those are the two things that we hope that, God is going to bless us one day with, this immaculate situation that we ain't putting no work into. And in fact, we're working inverse into all of those different things. And that's why we're seeing the results we're seeing. And we haven't seen anything yet, because all these numbers we're talking about are being skewed, because the earlier generations that are dying right now, the baby boomers and all those other, when they die off, we're going to really see the effects of us having this lifestyle. And it's going to be ugly. And it's almost going to be apocalyptic when we look at it, post-apocalyptic afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. We got to be more serious about our lives, just our existence, our livelihood, period. Having too much fun, trying to live it up too much, and all these things. We're killing ourselves. We're literally eating ourselves to death. Eating ourselves to death, and we don't care, and that is a problem. We're getting fatter, and that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Stop saying you big bone. Stop saying it's hereditary. The only thing hereditary is the bad lifestyles and the bad habits. That's hereditary. Remember, I had a conversation with somebody that was like, it's a fat gene. We looked it up. It wasn't no fat gene.
No, it ain't no fat gene.
No. It's
the
mind state. It's the mind state. It's the lifestyle. Look, you have a higher chance of getting diabetes or heart disease if the last 4 generations before you had that, because it's the way y'all eat and the way y'all live.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I say?
What?
I ain't cut you off, but I think we can sum all this up real easy, right? People that choose to be healthy, stop partnering up with people that choose not to be.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on that.
And that's just across the board, not even with physical health, with mental health, with worldviews, with like let them do them, and let them do them. And whatever side you on, you got to be good with being on that side.
Because
Because
you
you
made the
can't be a
choice.
300-pound person, 400-pound person, talking about you want somebody that go to the gym every day and you ain't been in Everdom.
Oh, or
So,
even when they go to the damn gym or the track, they just there to take pictures. Because I can tell you about the two lappers.
Look,
yeah.
I see
look.
it.
I tell you this, if you go once again, I'm gonna say it again. If you go to the gym every day, if you work out on the regular, and you're not getting smaller, you're not meeting your goals. For one, you're most likely not serious in the gym. A lot of people go to the gym and overwork. A lot of y'all stop going to the gym. You don't have to spend an hour on the damn treadmill. Who told you to spend an hour on the treadmill? Well, nobody told me. Well, why the hell are you doing it? Because I feel. Don't nobody give a damn how you feel. You hurting yourself. Don't spend no goddamn hour on the treadmill because you want to lose extra calories that your ass shouldn't have ate. Stop that.
What? But here's the rub with that, Joe. For that hour on the treadmill, with you walking, 5 miles an hour, you probably burn 200, 300 calories. That's one peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Right. Because you're gonna go right back and eat. I remember talking to somebody, they went to the gym. Then after that, they went and ate a whole oxtail meal after the gym at 11 o'clock at night. What the fuck is the point of going to the gym?
Planet Fitness has pizzas like every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
they
got
man,
a
cause they smart. That's gonna keep the people coming back.
yeah, they got
That's
a
the
big
insuring
ass
your gym
tub,
membership.
a big ass tub of Tootsie Rolls, and they have donut Mondays, and
That's
Planet
ensuring
Fitness
that
is
you stay
wild.
coming back. Hey man, yeah,
I
man.
hey,
We
I
gotta
go
do
to
better.
Planet Fitness, and it's wild in there.
The Tootsie Rolls popping. They be. I like when they
I
got
just
the
signed.
flavorful ones too. Flavorful.
I just signed back up with the U Fit, so I'm finna start going. So we're finna see what they got. But yeah,
Oh, I'm glad the weather's turning up here, so I can actually get back to the track on a consistent basis. Because I like the outdoors, fresh air, things of that nature. But the point is, keep moving, y'all.
yeah.
And one of the things I want to say, Joe, to the follow the people who watch your show, and I've been checking out the comments, is really, really heartfelt to see that a lot of people are talking about introducing their children to this content
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
talking about the impact it's
Word?
having on. Yeah,
Yeah.
brother. People are talking about,
Yeah.
man. I made my son. The one brother said he made his son watch every episode. So
I
I
don't be in
appreciate
the
that.
comments because I be scared.
yeah,
Hey,
so
man, it's more good comments than bad comments. So
yeah.
Go
So
ahead, PC. I'm sorry.
no. I was just giving Joe his flowers, man, because that brother brought this together. And he's doing the work, man, and I salute that brother. Salute you, Joe.
nah,
Appreciate
I
you, bro.
appreciate y'all. I
Yeah,
appreciate
PC, and
y'all.
I'm gonna give you your flowers because you come through and you drop that shit that they like. So,
Then
right
your ass. Then your
in
I'm
the
ass,
getting,
com-
Pat.
I'm
oh
getting
no,
hit
I
on
don't.
the
I don't even
I
podcast.
ain't
be
gonna
in the
lie.
comments.
Hey, people don't like when your ass be missing shows, Pat.
Yeah,
Nah, I
Yep,
don't
I don't like
believe
when you
that
miss
because
shows.
I was getting
I'm
called a
telling you,
coon last time I looked in the comments. I was like,
man.
all right, well, that's
That was
like
over a
social
year
media.
ago, whoever that person was. But that was over a year ago. Man. But once again, that's less than 1% of the comments. So shout out to all the viewers, new and old. Shout out to you all, everybody who comment. Even if I don't have a chance to get to all y'all comments, I appreciate you all. When I get a chance, I get to them. Some of them comments be. So my mama told me to, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So I try to
Is
stick by
Patrick
that as much as
for you?
possible. Yeah, Pat don't. Yeah, but I do be
There
saying
you
some
go.
stuff. But some. But anyway, let's eat better. Let's live better. Let's think better. Let's do better. Let's be better. Let's get healthier. And if you're not on that, I don't know what to tell you. But if you own that, then we on the same time, and let's build. Let's do what we do. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones. You are what you eat, and let's eat to live. We out of here.